The film opens with a slow, atmospheric sequence that sets the tone for what's to come. We're introduced to Elena Hartley, a successful but emotionally detached therapist in her early 30s living in New York City. She's known for her cold demeanor and clinical approach to trauma, often avoiding emotional entanglements with her patients. Her life is orderly, controlled, until a mysterious letter arrives at her apartment one rainy night. The letter contains no signature, only a short phrase typed in old-style font. "You must surrender." No return address, no explanation. Elena dismisses it as a prank or a desperate patient's cry for attention. But then things begin to change. Over the next few days, Elena starts receiving anonymous phone calls, sometimes just breathing on the other end, sometimes whispers of distorted voices saying strange phrases like, "let go," or "it wants you." At first, she tries to ignore them, even changes her number. But the calls keep coming. Worse, she begins experiencing vivid nightmares involving shadowy figures and a woman who looks eerily like her mother, who died when Elena was a child. One night, while returning home from work, Elena witnesses a man being dragged into an alley by something she can't quite see. When she runs toward the sound, the street is empty. No sign of the man, just a torn piece of paper fluttering on the ground. It reads, "Surrender willingly or be taken." She takes the paper back to her apartment, scans it, and shows it to a detective friend, Detective Marcus Lee, who works missing persons cases. He listens carefully, then tells her, "This isn't the first time someone has seen this symbol." He pulls out a file showing several unsolved disappearances over the past 2 years. All victims had received similar letters or messages before vanishing without a trace. Some were found later, disoriented and unable to speak, repeating only the word surrender over and over. Elena becomes obsessed with uncovering the truth behind these disappearances, especially after realizing that the last victim shares her exact birth date and blood type. Something about her seems to connect her to this mystery. Act 2. Descent into Darkness. Elena dives deep into research, consulting old psychiatric files, interviewing former patients of missing people, and even reaching out to occult experts. She discovers references to an ancient cult known as the Order of the Hollow Veil, believed to have originated in the 18th century. According to legend, the order believes that certain individuals are chosen by a higher force to surrender their minds and bodies to something they call the Devourer, a cosmic entity said to reside beyond human perception. The more Elena digs, the worse her mental state deteriorates. She begins hearing voices in her sleep, seeing reflections move independently in mirrors, and feeling watched even when alone. One night, she wakes up to find her apartment door wide open and a trail of muddy footprints leading from her bedroom window to the hallway. She follows the trail, which ends outside where she finds a small, hand-carved wooden box. Inside the box is a single black feather and a photograph of herself as a child, standing in front of a house she doesn't remember ever visiting. She decides to travel to the location shown in the photo, a remote village called Ashvale, located deep in the Appalachian Mountains. According to local records, Ashvale was abandoned decades ago due to a series of unexplained deaths and mass hysteria. Upon arrival, Elena finds the town eerily preserved, frozen in time. Houses stand untouched, clocks still ticking, food on tables now rotted. There's no sign of life, yet everything feels alive. As she explores, she hears faint chanting echoing through the woods. She follows the sound to a clearing where she sees a group of hooded figures performing a ritual around a stone altar. Before she can hide, one of them turns and stares directly at her. "You've returned," he says. Elena flees, heart pounding, and returns to her rented cabin nearby. That night, she experiences her worst nightmare yet. In it, she's trapped inside a void, surrounded by whispering voices. A tall figure approaches her, half human, half shadow, and speaks in a voice both familiar and terrifying. "You cannot run. You were always meant to be ours." She wakes up screaming, only to realize she's not in her cabin anymore. She's lying on the altar from the dream. A woman stands beside her, the same woman from her dreams. She introduces herself as Dr. Clara Voss, a former psychologist who disappeared 5 years earlier. Clara explains that the Order has been searching for a specific kind of mind, one capable of resisting the Devourer long enough to communicate with it. Elena is the perfect candidate. They want you to become a bridge, Clara says, between this world and the next. Clara helps Elena escape, warning her that the Order will never stop hunting her. Together, they return to the city, where Elena seeks help from Detective Lee again. This time, she brings evidence, photos, documents, audio recordings. Lee finally believes her, but it's too late. That night, Elena is attacked in her apartment by a man claiming to be her brother, a sibling she never knew existed. He reveals that their mother was once a high-ranking member of the Order before fleeing with Elena as a baby. Their father, however, remained loyal to the Devourer. "You're his heir," he whispers before vanishing into the shadows. Act 3, the final choice. Haunted by visions and hunted by the Order, Elena and Clara go on the run, seeking refuge in an underground network of researchers and survivors dedicated to stopping the cult. They learn that the Devourer isn't just some myth, it's real, and it feeds on human consciousness. Those who resist it become vessels, amplifying its power across dimensions. The only way to stop it is to destroy the central altar in Ashvale, the same one where Elena was placed during her vision. But doing so would require her to willingly face the Devourer and offer herself as a conduit long enough to sever its connection to our world. In the final act, Elena returns to Ashvale with Clara and Detective Lee. The Order is waiting. A brutal confrontation ensues. Fire, blood, and chaos erupt across the abandoned town. Clara sacrifices herself to buy Elena time to reach the altar. As Elena ascends the stone steps, the Devourer emerges from the shadows. A massive, shifting form of darkness and light, speaking in 1,000 overlapping voices. "Surrender," it commands. Elena closes her eyes. "I surrender," she says, but not to the creature, to herself. In that moment, she releases all fear, guilt, and pain. She lets go of control. And instead of becoming a vessel for the Devourer, she becomes a barrier, sealing it away forever. The altar collapses, the sky clears, and silence falls over Ashvale. Detective Lee finds Elena unconscious at the base of the ruins. She survives, but something has changed. She no longer fears the dark. She no longer hides from her past. In the final scene, we see Elena back in her office, preparing to take on new patients. On her desk sits the wooden box she found in Ashvale, now closed but humming softly. She smiles faintly. Some doors close, others open. Fade to black. Themes and symbolism. The Surrender is a psychological thriller layered with themes of identity, trauma, control, and the cost of letting go. It explores how surrendering, whether to fear, love, loss, or even the unknown, can be both terrifying and liberating. The film uses symbolism heavily. Mirrors represent self-reflection and duality. Feathers symbolize transformation and messages from the other side. The altar, a literal and metaphorical point of transition between worlds. Cast and crew. Elena Hartley, played by Emily Blunt. Detective Marcus Lee, played by Idris Elba. Dr. Clara Voss, played by Naomi Watts. The Devourer voice provided by Jude Law. Directed by Alex Garland. Written by Charlie Kaufman. With cinematography by Robbie Ryan and score composed by Hildur Ganadter. Reception and legacy. Upon release, The Surrender was praised for its haunting visuals, layered narrative, and powerful performances. Critics noted its unique blend of psychological horror and philosophical depth, comparing it to films like Annihilation, Hereditary, and The Babadook. It received nominations at major awards including Best Original Screenplay and Best Cinematography. Fans praised its ambiguity and refusal to provide easy answers, sparking debates online about the true nature of the Devourer and whether Elena truly defeated it or became part of it.